This tailoring build is focused on if you don't have any starting capital and you want to start working on getting Longboy 2.0. Originally I was going to make a 0 to Longboy video, and basically I was going to do this with cloth gathering and then bolt crafting. But once I realized that you can set this up within just a single reset, I scrapped that idea for this. So you'll need two characters to do this. The first one is going to be Cloth Gatherer, and the talent points we need for that is 30 in Textile Treasures. This is so you can find the cloth at an increased rate. Quality Fabric 30, and this is so you can get the rank 3 versions. And then from Dusk until Dawn 30, so you can get the scraps of Dawnweave and Duskweave. So to maximize this build, you only need 90 knowledge points. You also don't have to have any tools to do this. That's why it's easy to set up. So you can set this up just in the one day. You also want to have this set up with Inscription, just so you can find these Darkmoon decks as well at the same time. And for that, you really only need 25 points, so you don't have to level Inscription very far. Obviously, you want to get all these to 15 eventually, because once you're at 15, you get a 50% increase Darkmoon card drops. What I found with this build is you can actually get around 35 to 40k gold per hour, which I'll demonstrate this entire process later in the video, once I've covered just the setup and things. With the current herb and ore prices, it's actually pretty competitive. The downside being it's a bit more active, I guess, but if that's your thing, you might like it. What I'm doing right here is the solo version, but you can get even better gold per hour if you do the group version. But for that, you want to be a monk, a moonkin, or a hunter, whereas if you're doing the solo version, you can just be any class you want. So if I just go into dungeons and then pre-made groups, just come into custom, if you go find group and just type in cloth, there's like 100 groups looking for people. And look at these pool, hunter, pool. So basically they're all looking for hunters. So if you want to do the group version, ideally you probably want to have a hunter. But if you just want to do this solo dungeon, which again I'll go over better later, you can just play whichever class you like. I found the Paladin's pretty good for it, but it really doesn't matter. In order to get the knowledge points you need for this build, in which you need 90 of them, you get 24 from the one-time treasures, you get another 30 from the one-time books here in Donegal, you get 10 from the Cage book, and another 10 from the rep book with Donegal. If you don't have this one, it might take you an extra reset to maximize this build. However, you only need these 60 points in order to really start doing this. The gold from Dusk to Dawn tree actually isn't that big of an increase. So just with these 60, you're able to do this. The 30 on top is just like the cherry, which ultimately you do want, but it's not super necessary. Then you get 2 from this weekly quest, 2 from your weekly treasures, then 1 from the treaties, which gives you a total of 79. So that just leaves you with 11 one-time crafts in order to be able to set this up in just one day. And that is not including the knowledge points you get from here. So you can see right now I have 8 knowledge points just sitting here ready to go. To get the books from Lyrandol here, you are going to need 900 Artisan's Acuity. Now there's 2 ways to do that, and I have a more in-depth guide which I'll link in the description of how to do this. If you have absolutely no capital and you're starting from 0 gold, you want to do herbing and mining. However, the other option is disenchanting catch-up, which I think that we're up to like 115, which means you need 115 Darkmoon decks. However, the cheapest way to do this, instead of buying the decks, is actually to buy these cards and make them yourself. So if we go to Ascension here, Ascension looks like it's not the best with this 36 and 47, so we'll try Symbiosis. And this is all you have to do. And see, these ones are all much cheaper. The most expensive one is 25 gold at the moment. So we'll just go off this highest price. You need 110 of these. So we're looking at 2,700 gold. And then you need 8 of them. So we times that by 8. So in order to do the full Artisan Security catch up with enchanting, currently it only costs you 22,000 gold. And that's at the most expensive. The rest of these are half that price. So this will probably be closer to 12,000 than 22. But yeah, if you don't have this gold, you're better off just going to the herbing and mining route and collecting herbs until you've got that catch-up Artisan Security. Now the next build is the Bolt Crafter, and this you do need the full blue tools with both resourcefulness and multi-craft. You're also going to need 75 points here in Textile Treasures, 30 in Less is More, 30 in Extra Threads, and just 15 in Textile Treasures. Then another 60 here in Quality Fabric and Weaving and Unraveling. And then you just need this tree unlocked, and then come to the Duskweave, because if I'll show you. This unlocks our cooldown crafts, and Duskweave is way more expensive than Dawnweave. So if you're looking at a rank 3 Dawnweave bolt, it's 130, whereas 195 for Dusk. Now in order to do the rank 3 stuff with tailoring, you are going to have to get tailoring to 100 skill. You can get it to 60 pretty easily just with the trainer recipes, but after then what you are going to want to buy is this Dawn Thread lining, and then use this to go from 60 to 100. The pattern itself is also pretty cheap. See, the Dawn Thread lining pattern is only 5 gold. So in order to get to 100, this is how you do it. one last thing, because we unravel then bolt craft, you do want the bag, the severed satchel. However, tailoring's pretty lucky. You get that just from this quality fabric node, so you don't need the Kedge or Artisan Security to get the pattern. Then it also doesn't require Artisan Security to make, so you can pick this up pretty easily. Now, in order to get the knowledge points, which I just covered for the cloth gathering to do this one, you got to do the same thing, except for you also need the Artisan Security to get all 4 tools. So in order to do this, you are going to need to do the enchanting shuffle, but you don't have to fully do the herbalism mining one. You can just do half of it if you can't be bothered, because that might actually take 8 hours to 9 hours to fully get everything from herbalism mining now, because the catch-up system's gone so far compared to when I did it previously. I think I got it done in less than 4 hours. But if you are doing the enchanting and catch up as well, in order to get these tools, that's going to leave you with a lot of knowledge points. So you can get a full disenchanting build. So you can go further from your tailoring to also doing the enchanting shuffle. However, I've only got green tools for this. If you want to go super deep into the enchanting shuffle as well and do the extra step, you want to get these in blue tools, which probably means you want to get all the Artisan Security you can from herbalism mining, and then also do skinning on top. And that way you can afford all 7 tools that you will need to do this. Because obviously you need 4 for tailoring, and then you'll need another 3. So if you want to go this far, you're probably going to get the long boy just by gathering herbs and mines and then skinning. And by the time you've done that, you might have enough gold. Now I will just show the entire system in action. So for the solo farm, you want to come to Darkflame Cleft in the follower dungeons. I have tried the stone vault, but it wasn't as good gold per hour. I'll just start a loot appraiser session and I'll do 1 hour and show you my results after. So the first thing I do is do this pull, come down here, and then this guy does a wallop, so I kind of want to move the mobs away from him so they don't get all knocked back and you have to go looting off in different places. And some people just do this room, but I tried that and I preferred clearing up to here. So you come on this left hand side, because the menial labourers, they're the ones that are best for the cloth. They drop from the train tracks at the top. So you want to get this pack, and then you move over here and get these. And then there's another pack up on the right hand side. And then once you've killed all the non-elites, the menial labourers, you can just loot and leave. You don't have to kill the elites at all. And in order to leave this dungeon efficiently, I'll link it in the thing. You just have a macro, and it leaves the dungeon for you and queues you in the next one. So as soon as you're done with this loading screen, the queue should pop. And that way you save a lot of downtime. There is a bug, which I'll show in a second. Do the quick leaving of the dungeon. Again, this is probably an exploit, so use at your own danger. When you press this macro, you just start jumping, and you'll get this screen. So you don't actually have to load into Donegal and then load in again. And you can just do the dungeon again. But yeah, use at your own risk. I wouldn't recommend it. But I've also got no problem showing it because your account, your choice. Another thing with this farm, you can see down the bottom right there, I'm only level 75. So you don't need a geared level 80 to do this farm. In fact, if you have a super geared level 70, you'll get even more gold per hour than if you just have like a fresh level 80. You can, however, get, I think it's like 563 gear off the auction house for like less than 10k a full setup. So just finished with the hour of cloth farming. I got loot appraiser says I've got items of value worth 32,000 gold, which, like I said, is pretty comparable to a full build of herbalism and mining. And unlike herbalism and mining, where you got to spend 8-10 hours getting all the catch-up knowledge before you can get to this gold, you can have this set up in an hour if you do the disenchanting shuffle, and then you're good to go. So what my next step is I'll send all this stuff to the bolt crafter, and we'll see how much we can extend this 32,000 to. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just see if you got any of these decks and make them, because the decks sell for way more than just the cards by themselves, but they still sell to lazy people kind of like me who couldn't be bothered doing this. So out of that hour, I got 6 full decks and then all these cards. The next thing I'm going to do is get rid of the Dawnweave. I'll sell that on the auction house because we haven't spec'd down this side, so I can't make Dawnweave bolts. So I'm not going to turn that into spools and sell it. I'll just sell it straight up. But then with the Duskweave, I'll also sell the lower versions of that and just keep the rank 3. And I'll sell the non-rank 3 bolts. So with the cloth I have left, I'll unravel all of that. And with unraveling, you want the resourcefulness tool on. So we'll just go through all this. Cloth. And of course, if you want to speed up this process, because I only have 45% crafting speed right now, you can get to 75. You can buy the Quick Hands file and the file of ambidexterity. Now I finished with the unraveling, so now I'll go into the bolt crafting. So I want to put on the multi-craft tool. The first thing I'm going to do is make all the weaver cloth bolts I can with the rank 3 spools I just got. And then I'll use all the other spools to just make rank 2 bolts. Now this is where, if you have the enchanting built, I've finished creating all the bolts and everything. And this is where, if you have the enchanting part set up, you can then use these bolts to make the cuffs to disenchant them. And disenchant them either for just the shards straight up, or then go on and shatter the shards further to get storm dust. And you can also do the same thing with the chef's hat. However, that's like an extended version of this, and I'm only showing you the tailoring part. So what I'll do with these bolts is just turn them into exquisite bolts. So I made the rank 3 ones. So with about half the rank 2 bolts, I'll make some rank 2 exquisites, and then sell the remainder of the rank 2 Weavercloth bolts just as is. So I spent 6.5k on the storm dust to do this. I'll post everything that I just created. I made 33k an hour just doing the gold farm for cloth, and we'll see how much I've increased that number by. This number, when I check, needs to be higher than 39,000 in order for this second bit to have been worth it. Okay, I am above the 39,000. It's going to be 42,000. So apparently that last 20 minutes only made me 3k, because I got to take off 6 for the storm dust cost. However, what I suspect is the loot appraiser was wrong with how much gold I created, because I didn't check it versus the actual auction house. I just used the number on the loot appraiser. And to prove that just this part is profitable without doing the actual cloth thing, I'll now just unravel some cloth and then turn it into bolts. And then I'll show you the difference between craft cost and selling point. Finished making the bolts. It cost me 42,600 to do. And I've made 455 of them, so I'll divide that by 455. And my crafting cost for these bolts is 93 gold, 70 silver. So this is without the cloth gathering part. So let's see what they're selling for on the auction house. Yeah, 110. So like a 16 gold difference, my crafting cost compared to the selling cost. So like I suspected with the loot appraiser, I'm going to assume that was a higher number than I actually would have got if I sold that stuff in the auction house. So super quick recap. You want 30 points in textile treasures, 30 points in quality fabric, and then 30 points in from dusk till dawn for the cloth farming build. Then you come to the follower dungeons, Dark Flame Cleft, and queue up. Then you kill all the menial labours in this first part and loot, and then reset. And to reset, you use this macro, which I'll have linked in the description. You also want to have inscription and get to 15 in all 4 of these nodes, so you get 50% more Darkmoon card drops. You'll get more gold per hour doing this cloth farm if you do it in a group. So you come into the dungeon finder again, go to pre-made groups, custom, find group, type in cloth, and you'll find the groups here. However, to do this, you probably want to be a hunter or a moonkin, whereas if you're doing this solo farm, you can be any class you want. Once you've collected all the cloth, you send it to your bolt crafter. The cloth farm can be set up in one day. Onto the bolt crafter, you need to get 100 skill out of 100 skill. You want all 3 blue tools, and then you need 30 in less is more, 30 in extra threads, 15 in textile treasures, 30 in quality fabric, and 30 in weaving and unraveling. Then you just unlock this node here and then select the dust weaving tailoring one. And with the cloth, you want to sell basically everything that's not weaver cloth, then unravel the weaver cloth, which you want the resourcefulness tool on, and you also want to make sure you have this severed satchel bag. And then you turn all the spools you get from your weaver cloth into both weaver cloth bolts and exquisite Weavercloth bolts. You don't want to do all exquisites, you want to do some Weavercloth bolts as well to sell, because it's better to diversify. Then if you have done the enchanting shuffle, so you want to take this one step further, you will need a boatload of artisan security to do this, but then you can also set up the shuffle. You can have enough points to go into this designated disenchanter and fill the entire tree, while also filling the supplementary shattering for the resource that you need. If you go in the enchanting path, instead of just crafting all bolts, you craft the cloth cuffs to disenchant. You get the gleamings from them, which you can just sell like that, or you go shatter, or the other option is to craft the chef's hats and then disenchant those. However, to do this profitably, you do need to have 100, and you want the purple rod and 2 rare tools. Do not try this before you have those things. You will lose money. It's better just to sell the bolt. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.